youngest baby, he 11. He liked to save the world. And the flowers are pretty. I'm like, is he a motherfucking fag? What the fuck is wrong? He don't want to play no football, no basketball. What the fuck is that about, nigga? Damn, but fucking, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But he's intelligent as shit and it's scary. When he was in the 3rd grade, he pulled some shit on me, baby. I had to get a nigga brownie points. I wasn't mad at him. I go up to a school one day to pick him up. I'm a surprise him. We're going to have mommy and Sunday, go to Chuck E. Cheese, have our little time. I get up there. He's standing next to his teacher. She crying. And the whole side of her face is bloodshot red. I said, now what the fuck am I walking into? I said, hey, what's wrong? What's happening? So she got real professional with me. Mrs. Jackson, we have a problem. So I said, well, what's the problem? You bitch, don't talk to me like that shit. So she said, well, Shalon hit me in my face with the ball. So I said, Shalon, did you hit her in her face with the ball? He said, yes, Mom, I did. I said, oh, okay. But what the fuck happened? Because he wasn't scared. She said, well, it was time to come back in from recess, and he wasn't ready. And, I chased him into the bathroom, and he hit me with a soccer ball, and now I'm having blurred vision. I said, this bitch gonna try to sue me? I should hit in her other motherfucking eye and make a run for it. So I'm looking, I said, Shalon, did you do that? He said, yes, I did. Not flinching at all. I said, well, when we get home, I'm gonna whip your ass, right? He said, yes, I know that. So now I'm getting nervous like this nigga's crazy. Because he ain't flinching. So we get home and I'm like, fuck it. You ain't scared? You want to play that role with me? Go in the room, take off all your motherfucking clothes, get in the shower, and don't dry your ass off. I'm going to whip your ass. Give me 5 minutes so I can get myself together. Go in my room. I'm getting myself pumped up to fuck him up. I come back with the thickest belt. I said, lay on your stomach. He said, hey, Mom, before you beat me, I need to tell you something. I said, what? He said, I know what I did was wrong, but these voices. I said, what? These voices be telling me, do something bad, do something bad. I said, what they be saying? Because now I'm scared of shit like this might be a little Jeffrey Dahmer. This nigga might eat me or something. He hearing shit telling him to do bad shit. So I go in the room, I call my husband. I'm like, baby, come home. Shalon is hearing voices and they tell him to do bad shit and I'm scared. So Mark comes home, rush home. He go in the room there and for about 2 hours. I don't hear shit. Mark come out the room and say, look, he hearing some motherfucking body. So let's lock our door. For this little nigga do something bad to us. Because I'm scared as shit. So I couldn't whip his ass because I'm thinking I got to get him some counseling. And no parent wants to admit their kid is fucked up. So I'm like, okay, let me find him a doctor that can help him with his mind because he hearing shit and I'm scared. Didn't whip his ass. So for about 2 weeks, we interviewing doctors. I'm sitting home one day, fucked up, watching the Cartoon Network. I don't never fuck with the Cartoon Network. But the spirit led me this particular day to watch the Cartoon Network. And the Rugrats came on. You know the little evil bitch Angelica? She was telling her parents the same motherfucking story. The voices be telling me to do something bad. Baby, I got in my car and went up to his school and pulled his black ass out of class. I said, I heard them motherfucking voices. And they told me to whip your ass. You slick motherfucker. Baby, I was like, you's a bad nigga, boy. I couldn't be mad.
Yo, Brad, ain't nothing too sweet for Cal.
That's right. let your ladies know.
Hey, Black Zeus.
What up?
Hey, Black Zeus. You getting this shot now?
Yep.
That's what's up. You getting a Johnson & Johnson? Well, I mean, you holding out for the Johnson & Johnson, the one shot?
That's what I wrote. Smith.
No, I'm asking because that, if anything, that would be what I'd be holding out for, the one.
Yeah, I'm holding out for that
Ain't
bad
no
boy.
sense in waiting to get into something that you got to go back in 30 days and shit. That's
He
stupid.
said,
Honestly, I think I'd rather go, and just my theory off this is just me pulling out my ass. I'd rather go for the 2 shots because it's more like a little bit now, a little bit later versus like the whole enchilada in 1 shot. It's kind of like building up your stamina with a couple shots of liquor today, a couple shots of liquor next time. You know what I mean? Building your stamina up instead of just saying, all right, we're going to give you the whole bang right now.
I'd rather have 1 hangover than 2, bruh.
Yeah. hit me with the 1 hangover. And
Just hit me with the 1 hangover, and I hopefully I recover after that.
Yeah, give me the arm swollen and everything in 1 shot.
For my understanding, it's not the first shot that gets people having a day of flu-like symptoms. It's the second.
It's the second, yeah.
Yeah. And so far, everybody I know that's gotten both shots have been okay.
yeah, my uncle got
Yeah, my mother ain't get the second shot yet. She only got the first one. She's gonna get the second one like this week.
Mm-hmm.
This week.
They say they're supposed to be distributing the Johnson & Johnson this upcoming week.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of expedite the FDA approval mad fast. I was like, okay, all right, well, we'll see. We'll see how we all look like in 5 years from now.
Yeah, you funny as hell.
We'll see, bro. That's all it is. Everyone's fine now. Let's give it some time, bro. Because hey, remember Johnson & Johnson just recently got sued for their talcum powder.
The talcum powder.
Yep.
I do know that.
All these pharmaceutical companies been sued multi-billions of dollars for their products, particularly their pharmaceutical drugs.
Hey, Cash, when you were growing up, did you use baby powder, or did you see females using baby powder? Because that used to be a thing when I was growing up. They would put
man. My mom used to put it in her essentials.
Well, let me ask you this:
when you go to suck their breasts, they got all that powder and shit. You're like, yo, what the fuck? Go wash that shit.
Better switch that off.
My man Smith with the graphic
Hey, man, hey.
Listen. Let me ask y'all this.
Nigga like nipple be all ashy and shit.
No, it's just be powdery, man. It'd be like, why are you putting baby powder there to keep the sweat?
Let me say this.
Idea.
Let me say this before Schubert goes. This is the last week I'm going without a fucking nickname, bro. Because he ain't gonna be the only one niggas calling Black Zeus.
Black Zeus.
Well, so what? Right, you had all this time to have a nickname, and now
I had a nickname. Y'all niggas ain't want to call it to me, so now I guess I got to think of another one.
Wait, what was your nickname?
What was your nickname, bro?
King.
King. Ain't nobody call.
I forgot what my shit was. I did have one.
First of all, that's not a nickname. That's what you are. We all kings on here. We don't call you king.
I appreciate you, Smith.
If you never heard me say Peace King to you, and I'm sure you heard me say that before, because that's just how I greet people. We kings. We're not going to call you that. We already call you that. We know.
Real talk, though, I had a nickname,
Smith,
man.
he ain't never had one. That's what it is.
I'm telling you, I had one.
Trying to improvise on the spot.
He mad because Black Zeus be getting that run with the Black Zeus.
Yeah, exactly. The envy is real.
Y'all niggas really calling him Zeus like that's his fucking name, bro. Yo, next week I'm coming up with one. Go ahead, Zeus.
You mad because we call him Black Zeus?
Bruh, let Zeus speak. He has something to say. Go ahead, bro. Almighty.
Can't with you. I can't. Listen, bro, I got nicknames depending on where I'm at. Like if you go see some of my peoples in Brooklyn, they refer to me as Lucky. If you go see some of my peoples in Philadelphia, they refer to me as Noble. It's just it's just one of those things, man. It's just one of them things. But what I was gonna say was like, I get that there's these lawsuits with pharmaceutical companies and everything, but at the end of the day, would you rather be during the time when we're reading in this book about girls with, vision issues and they're electrocuting her and putting leeches on her eyes and this, that, and the other? Like, we've come a long way to having the medical science that we have now that allows us a lot of health and freedoms that, you can experience 50, 100 years ago.
No, you don't get a lot of disagreement from me from that. No, that's true. That's true. I think with these pharmaceutical companies, and I think it's just most companies, corporations in general, which is gonna tie into my book selection for next week. It's the lack of transparency, like knowing when shit is wrong and you withhold that information to the public. That's my problem.
Because they are still in the business of making money. They're not like griots, man. This is not like we're in Africa and we go to the guy and we have natural herbs and we have natural shit that get rid of our ailments.
Yeah, but that sounds like
natural shit works, bruh. All this medicine shit is cool, but natural shit still works. We just gotten away from that. You know what I mean? So it's easy to take a Advil as opposed to take some berry root. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all.
How easy is it to get your hands on berry root?
I don't know, bro.
Man, if I was in Africa, probably very easy. Shit.
Okay, but we're in America. How easy is it?
Well, guess what? If I go to the African trade store, I'm sure I can get some. And I have one of those called Eco West right here on. Yeah, I'm giving them a shout out. Eco West right here on Clinton Avenue.
Yo, you can go to the Korean shops and get some natural shit.
And you go to the Korean shops and get a lot of these things too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know you go to the Korean shop, but my whole thing is just like
I'm gonna send you all this thing too. Hey,
I know there's things that are the things that are natural that work in this tenure, but it's just like once again, I don't know. Like right now with Corona and everything, there's people that are just like, oh no, I'm good. I'm just gonna boost up my immunity with this special aloe drink that I made in my garage with Cracker Bass roots.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what Steve Jobs did. Steve Jobs had a pancreatic cancer, and he was doing all this.
Who's to say that's not working? Because this virus is so new. You don't know if I go in my garage and concoct something that it doesn't work. You don't know that.
I don't know that.
Don't poke fun at it.
I'm just saying, I don't know if it. I don't. But that's the thing. I don't know if it works.
Exactly.
You don't. But you know what though? If it boosts your immune system,
you don't know if the vaccine works.
So how do you know it's a placebo?
But if it boosts your immune system,
shoot, we're trying to transition to
that shit works, man. I mean,
talking about placebos and shit. Yeah, I see what you did right there.
You're right, Henry. If it boosts your immune system, it works.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. All right. How do you know your immune system is boosted? Is it like when you're playing video games, all of a sudden you drink this thing, you're like boop, 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 boop.
And then he see his life bar goes.
You see your life bar. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you know this works? How do you quantify that?
Because it say it on the label.
Oh, because it says on the label.
You think because it said on the label. It says immune booster on the label.
But you know what though?
So it should boost his immunity.
But how do you know that vegetables boost your shit or carrots do what they say that they do? It's all the same.
Because you're just believing what people have told you. That's why.
No, because someone's actually done the research on it.
See, you're believing what people have told you.
No. I'm not just believing what people have told me. I'm believing people
you didn't
who
do
are
the
qualified.
Research. You didn't do the research.
No. There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a difference between someone who's qualified to do the research, who has done the research, and you can actually look up a scientific study, which I have done many a times. All right. And there's a whole difference with someone else who just says it and has no research to show you. That is one of the problems right now with all of this pseudoscience, is that people will say stuff and have no research that you can look up and see for yourself what the work that has been done to see if it's legit or not.
That's what they did during the Robin Baron days.
Some people do have the research.
Snakes oil salesmen.
Well, if you have the research and you can show it. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm saying people still don't.
I know how to read a scientific paper. I know how to read an abstract. I know how to read a scientific paper. So if you have the work to show it. I'm just saying.
What, though? You could say that same shit about the vaccine.
That's what I just
research.
said.
They got the studies. Niggas they still skeptical. Oh, what's gonna happen? I mean, granted, you don't know what's gonna happen 5 years from now.
That's true.
They don't know. They just said this will work, and let's see what happens. They don't fucking know.
But I mean, you got people looking at
it. It is what it is. They don't fucking know.
That's like saying, well, you don't know if you're gonna get hit by, a car. Well, you do know how to cross the street. You've had success crossing the street 100 times before. This might be the time that you might not make it, but You're going on the basis that you've had success 100 times crossing the street, that red light means these cars will stop. But there might be that freak time that some psychopath or somebody's brake didn't work or something that's always a possibility.
Yeah, like somebody like a Bill Burr who should have a stand-up skit where he say he want to like a bunch of people.
I remember that. But the whole thing is the point is that we base our actions on what we've learned from the past. If we've seen, results from something in the past, that's how we base our actions for the future.
I would say this: the one thing, and we could get into the news. The one thing I didn't like during this whole time during the pandemic is not once have I seen any medical professional that's been prompted on national television advocate for good health. It's just like to what Smith is saying. It's just like no one's saying, exercise, taking,
Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me, right?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Fauci really.
No. What I'm saying, you got to, at this day and age, you really got to tell that to people. They've been saying that to people for fucking how many, 50, 100 years now. Okay. Doctors been saying that.
Oh yeah. But I'm just saying,
that's like saying, tie your shoes before you go. It's almost like common sense.
It's different though. It's different though when your ass been locked in the house for a fucking year. You need to hear that shit, bro. Unfortunately, you still have to tell people that because people don't know how to take care of themselves.
The public are kids. So sometimes you got to remind the public. Care of
themselves. Exactly.
Listen, the public are kids, but you tell me one person that's pulling up to McDonald's and saying, yep, this is good for me.
Oh, my man.
Tell me one person that's buying cigarettes and saying, yep, this is good for me.
No. Hold up. Stop right there. What's my man? He played football. He said McDonald's is good for you.
Adrian Peterson.
Watching some shit that y'all sent.
Adrian Peterson.
Okay,
he said McDonald's is good for you. He said that shit callous your body, and that's why he never been fucking hurt. Never had anything happen during his NFL time.
Yep, Adrian Peterson. Okay. I remember that interview.
Obviously, he has had enough concussions that his brain ain't working quite right.
Hey, I'm just telling you, my man said it.
Listen. You go point out one. Listen, pointing out.
Wait. Listen. This is what he said. Cam Newton changed his diet, and then Cam Newton got hurt. He told Cam Newton, you need to go back to eating honey buns and eating McDonald's, and you won't get hurt. You eating that vegan shit and that healthy shit, and that's why you got hurt. This is real talk. This is what he said. I'm going to send you that shit.
I believe it. I believe that he said it. I'm just saying the fact of, is it legitimate? That would be the question.
Well, the thing is, the human body is an enigma, and it's just like what works for one person won't work for another person. So it's just like it's hard to say. Like the sciences is never an exact science where it's just like whatever could work for you might not work for me. But anyway, let's get into some news. All right, first thing up from CNET. Not everyone will qualify for a third stimulus payment, even if you got the first two, as the House of Representatives plans to approve its version of the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. Friday, a third stimulus check could be on its way to anyone who qualifies as soon as the end of March. However, the bill has navigated the Senate before it could be passed along to the President, Joe Biden, for a final signature. The new stimulus check could begin to phase out after $75,000 per the targeted stimulus plan. If your adjusted gross income or AGI is over $100,000 or over, you won't be eligible for a third payment of any amount. So,
damn it.
Thoughts on that? Thoughts on people not getting a
Wait, Cash. I got a question, Cash. I thought they said that for the first two also.
They did say it for the first two. I'm not gonna front. No, the first one wasn't as precise. It wasn't targeted. They just threw it out there.
Wasn't targeted.
I got the first one. Right? The second one was targeted, but this one
was a bomb.
But this one they made even more specific, and they narrowed it in.
So you're telling me they narrowed in because I got the last one in my makeover 6, and you told me I'm not gonna get this one.
But you have kids though. You might
That's
get
the thing. I think it's the kid thing. Yeah,
you might get kids, bro. You know what I don't like about this, yo? It's just like this doesn't, while they're accounting for adjusted income, they don't account for like regional expenses. Like if you live in New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania, your cost of living is completely different if you lived in Kentucky and Alabama.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you could make $100,000 in New York, but like, come on, man. Like,
it's not like making $100,000.
It's not $100,000. Yeah,
exactly. So like, I wasn't feeling when I was reading this, and just like, damn, I don't know. It is what it is. What you guys think?
I mean, it's a catch-22 because on one side I agree, like, someone making $100,000 in New York, California, New Jersey versus making $100,000 in Alabama, Florida, Texas is going to be a big difference, with that $100,000, but at the same token, like, I'm not even exactly sure, even if you did throw, was it $1,400 at someone in, California, New York, New Jersey, that money's really going to make a huge difference in their life, especially when it's like, okay, you gave me $1,400 when the end of March, and $600 in January, and then what was it, a $1,200 way back last March? It's like, dude, do you really think that's floating me? Like, you think that's really floating me by in living in New York, New Jersey, or California? Are you insane?
It's not.
Yeah. That just paid for my Starbucks.
I'm about to say, but it does help with a bill.
It's not
to float you. You're not supposed to sit there and say, "Wait, I got this stimulus money coming. I got this stimulus money coming."
I don't even think you could pay rent. That's not what it
money. You know what though? I read something that did say that the $1,400 is supposed to cover the, expected to cover somebody's bills for like a month or two. Maybe they I read that on CNBC yesterday.
What bills?
Wait, you said $1,400 covers somebody's bills for 2 months?
So I believe, I don't want to quote it and say, but I know it said at least a month or two.
But not in New York. Not in New Jersey.
Well, you said Alabama. It could be Alabama.
Also, that's what I'm saying. And they probably
could be it could be a single parent.
And they also
not a single parent, just a single person. It could be a single person.
And they also
and
probably
their rent is about $400.
Well, they also probably take the national average. I'm pretty sure that's how they're coming out with this number.
But that's the problem.
Henry, $1,400 for 2 months. For 2 months, that's $700 a month.
Oh, he's not agreeing with it, Hawk. He's just saying.
No, I'm saying. All right, that's what I'm saying. Are you sure it's for 2 months or it's for 1 month? Because that's like crazy, like $1,400.
I'm about to find that.
But find that, please.
It all depends where you live.
Because I was about to say that's why they don't mind people living in poverty in America.
If you live in your mama's basement, hey, but people are still screaming for their $1,400.
Yeah, because it's money, and I can go and buy me a bag with it.
Let's be for real. They are not. That money is not so that they can pay your bills or whatever. That money is so that you can go and spend it at Walmart, at Amazon, and keep the economy circulating.
Keep the economy circulating.
It's enough to get groceries. It's enough to pay, buy something you might want to stand. But it's not paying your mortgage. It's not paying your rent. It's not, covering your car insurance, your gas, your electricity, or, your basic cost of living. That's not doing it.
And then I hear other people talking about, well, you can take the money and invest, but if you can invest that money, then you don't need the money.
That's true.
That's true.
But that's,
you know what I mean?
But that's also a case-by-case basis as well.
I'm going to take this money and invest it, but if you invest in that money, then you don't need that money.
I mean, the whole thing is just because you can invest it doesn't mean you don't need it. Because at the end of the day, like if you're someone who's intelligent about your money and you know that Social Security is failing, especially you're someone under 40, then you're taking that money and investing it. It has a better chance of being more money in the future for you.
If I'm giving you $1,400 right now to be used right now because you are in a situation, you don't need to be investing that money because you need the money to spend for your family.
But they don't know. But they don't know what your situation is. They're giving everybody.
Oh no! I know it. There's other people because understand.
So the whole thing is, I
invested my money. Like I didn't need it.
I was gonna say because if you got $1,400, kicking out $1,400 kicking out your way, at let's say 8%, not even say 8%.
You ain't getting no 8%.
Let's say 5% interest a year. Let's just say 5% interest a year. That puts you at what, 50 That puts you somewhere around like $70 of interest a year times over the next 20 years. And if it's compounded, you're going to make a couple extra thousand over, the next 10, 20 years off that shit. Why not? Why not?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Could have hurt.
I look, I'm not against the stimulus. I just don't like the biasness with it. It's just like
biasness.
Yeah, like I just like who you think is the right people to get it and based on what. Like I think like what Black Zeus says, it's just like they don't know everyone's story, especially based on people who live in like these coastal states like California, New York, and New Jersey. It's just like it's kind of messed up,
Yeah,
I think it's what I think is messed up.
And I got another part of it. I got another part about it. Your ass shouldn't be all fucked up like that we got to bail your ass out. I got another part. I don't know if I agree with that one,
Smith. That's what I said initially, bro. That's what I said
initially. But like, yo, dude, we're a year in, though.
I don't care what you think about it. It is what it is. Like, you've been in this pandemic. It's time to step it up. Like, step it up. Stop looking for handouts. It's time to step it up. Like,
that's easier said than done, Smith, because the whole thing is your industry isn't being hit. So it's easy for you to say.
Yeah,
I know people that are in the entertainment industry.
I know people in the hotel services business.
I know people. I have clients that are in the hotel services who cannot find work right now.
Yeah.
All right. I know people in the airline industry who cannot find work right now. So the whole thing is, if your industry, especially if it's like one of my clients who has put about the last 30 years of her life into working at Marriott, no longer has a job.
Yeah, that's
She was waiting out for they furloughed them and then they realized, it's not going to happen, dude. And we're not open. They're not going to be opening that Marriott in New York anymore. And now she has no job. And it's like, you put 30 years of your life into this one job. You have no other skills, nothing else on your resume. How easy do you think it's just going to be able to just walk up and pick up another job in this market right now?
Yeah, exactly. Because
it's going to be very hard to pick up another job. It's going to be extremely hard.
Like if you work in a service,
I got a question.
To say like, don't ask for a handout.
No, check it out. Forget all that. So do you now teach your child to go into a different line of business knowing that this shit can happen again?
Absolutely. You keep your mind open to all different types of avenues. The whole thing is people.
So as a person now, and I only got 2 years in this industry, should I start looking at changing my direction? Should I go a different route because I see that that's not working?
Well, here's the thing. I listen to that argument, and I agree. There's too many people who are majoring and focusing on dumb stuff, like concentrating on dumb degrees. They're in fields that really doesn't necessarily make any sense whatsoever. But the thing is, like, as human beings, like, we have a cultural thing. Like, we're unique and great, creating like entertainment and stuff like that. And like in the arts. So it's just like, I don't want to necessarily shit on someone who could be the next Mozart by saying like, yo, pick up a hammer and now being contractor. Now we're missing out on the opportunity of that kid being the next.
You don't say pick up a hammer.
But that's
listen, I can still be Mozart.
You can't, bro.
Why can't I?
Because if you're now telling a flock of new generation that, look, your industry really is not considered essential to the economy, and now let's focus on what is most essential to the economy. Now that kid who probably possessed the talent in the arts, now that kid is being deviated and saying,
I got a question for you. So you're saying that entertainment is not, we don't need entertainment? Is that what you're saying?
Yo, when you look at what was considered essential during this lockdown, they didn't consider the arts. They didn't consider the arts essential.
No. Listen. I'm talking about as far as, yes, they closed that down. But if you didn't have entertainment, what would you be doing?
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, it was still on TV. It was still on Zoom. They still had outlets to get their artistry out. You understand?
I understand that.
You couldn't go to Broadway and you couldn't go sit in the theater.
But
movies are still being made.
But Smith, what you're saying is, what we were predicating this whole discussion on is, if another situation like this happens, you're saying that have these people focus on what is most essential. And what I'm saying is the arts wasn't considered most essential during this lockdown. It wasn't.
The arts wasn't considered essential as far as nothing. You didn't have to go into the arts. Teaching wasn't considered essential. Wasn't shit considered essential besides a goddamn grocery store.
But the moment
think
teaching,
about it.
But
think about it.
No,
what was really considered essential? What was really considered essential during this time?
The grocery
stores
stores
were still open. What was
but you were able to you were able to transition your job as a teacher remote learning. Like a lot of these stuff was still remote learning. We're talking about
now. I got that.
Go ahead, Black Zeus. Go ahead.
If you were gonna make a pyramid, of hierarchy, and you had a base, and you're working your way up, obviously your very base would be food, clothing, shelter.
Yes.
Right? So those would be your essentials. So that's where you had, supermarkets open. You had construction companies working on, on homes. Everybody was going to Home Depot, fixing up their house during the lockdown. So those were the essentials. After food, clothing, and shelter, everything is stacked up, according to like use, overall for the majority of people. All right. The arts, as much as I appreciate the arts, it wasn't something for the majority of people. That's why, I have friends of mine and neighbors of mine who actually are in the arts, who have one of my really good friends works on Broadway, or was working on Broadway. Another one of my son's friends, his mom is an actress, and the father writes the music for different movies and shows and this, that, and the other. And they have all been unemployed forever. So the whole thing is the minute entertainment we've had that we, on television, this, that, and the other, blase, via Zoom, as you say, is not the majority of the industry. It's not the majority of the industry.
No, I understand that. But I'm saying you're always going to have entertainment. That's what kept your ass entertained during this pandemic.
I think
that's not going to go away.
The
you're missing what I'm saying.
Yeah, the entertainment is something that's important. But if you look at even the way that they're disseminating the vaccine, they're giving it to the people, outside of the high risk, they're giving it to the jobs that they feel are most essential, and then they're working their way up. You don't see actors at the base of the pyramid.
Nope.
No, you don't.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to be very careful with the language we use when we saying like, well, have you focus on what's most essential? Because it's just like we put so much focus on that. We go oversaturate the market too, because if everyone becomes a contractor, it's just like, then what? It's just like, then you could still find yourself unemployed because there's a gazillion contractors out there. So we got to be very careful in regards of how we message, what kids should be focusing on. Yes, I believe not telling them to focus on the dumb shit, but at the same time, I think there's a space for a lot of the stuff that our society has basically, structured.
Yeah. Plumbers and electricians.
Yeah.
I was just watching this thing, and I'm going to send it to you all. So anybody's listening to this, plumbers and electricians, you can be 30 years old, make $200,000 a year.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys. Plumbers and electricians, and a lot of them are retiring, and nobody is taking the market right now.
Yeah, that's because why people look down on manual labor.
Yeah, when it happened in Dallas, they couldn't get a lot of things fixed in Dallas because there's only a few plumbers in all of Dallas. Mm-hmm. And they're overbooked, so I can't come and work on your house. You know what I mean? Plumbers and electricians. People don't want to do, as you said, Black Zeus, that blue collar. Yeah, they don't want to do it. And that's making a lot of money.
People look down on it, and it's crazy to me. Like, somebody would look down on something that's like essential to
somebody will look down society. On work. It's work.
It's not just work. It's essential work.
It's very essential work. You're always going to need a plumber and electrician.
Yeah. All right. Next bit of news. This is from NJ.com. I found this sad, like funny and sad at the same time. New Jersey residents are drinking and smoking more during the pandemic. The proof is in Murphy's new state budget. The Murphy administration proposed a $44.8 billion budget released Tuesday offered a glimpse into how some people channeled their frustration and stress over stay-at-home orders. The state treasury anticipate it will collect $42.1 million more in tobacco tax revenue and $25.9 million more in alcohol tax than it had predicted, according to an outline of Governor Murphy's budget. That's $68 million in unanticipated revenue. Cigarette sales have more than held up during the pandemic, actually halting a decades-long downward trend, in part due to a shift of consumption patterns away from electronic cigarettes and back to regular cigarettes.
Yeah, there ain't shit else to do. So you got to get your vice somehow in the house. For those of us who's following the rules, and staying in the house when we supposed to.
So I'm supposed to stay in the house and drink and smoke myself to death?
You're not supposed to.
That shit sounds dumb.
No, it's not that nobody's saying that you're supposed to. So, it's just that this is what people have chosen. It's not like people just started drinking because of this. You know, maybe a few, but some people have already had. Some people have already been drinking. Some people have already been smoking, and now it's like double up. You know, like
facts. My wife is one of them. The amount of wine bottles that are sitting on top of my fridge is ridiculous.
Yeah, the wine bottles, right?
If that's the case, that's the case, P. You need to be like, you know, I see you know, I'm saying, was she a little tipsy? I'm just saying, you know.
Just take one more sip.
Just one more sip, baby.
Take one more sip.
What you about to say, Cal?
Seize the moment.
Seize the moment.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah, man.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
I would tell you this, like when this pandemic started, right, I was going to these parties. I was going to these Zoom parties, right? This is the first when it started and everything was shut down. And I was drinking at these parties. And then I found that I was drinking by myself. And I said, oh, this is bullshit. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. And I don't want to wake up, as you were saying just now, Black Zeus, with a little too much to drink the night before. I don't want to wake up feeling fucked up. And guess what? I'm by myself still. And I didn't party, you know, the same way that we're on this call right now. I'm sitting here and I'm drinking, but I'm by myself. Yeah, you can have a cup in your hand, Cash, but I'm by myself. Do you understand? That made me say, you know what? I don't want to party like this. That's not my kind of party. I don't, you know,
you're a social creature.
I'm more of a social, I'm not, you know what I mean? And I can be on here, but I don't have to have a drink with you because that doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? That shit was weird.
You know what it is? I think it's contributing to that. I think there's a lot of lonely people out there, and this pandemic has forced them to realize how lonely they are. And unfortunately, people don't have proper outlets, and the easiest vice to have is drinking and smoking. So, and everybody realized that I thought I had friends, but guess what? I really don't have friends because all these Facebook and Instagram people are not my friends. Facts. I don't have friends. Yeah, I don't have somebody I can call. That's right. I don't have somebody that I can call and have a conversation with. Facts. Yeah. So I'm drinking because I realize that my life is actually pretty shitty. Facts. That's why I'm. Yep. Yeah. Like that's why I'm drinking because I realize my life is pretty shitty.
Because if I was single or even lived by myself, I definitely would have went shacked up with one of my homeboys. Like, nigga, we got to go through this shit together. One way or another. Man, that's your mentality, but like how many people feel comfortable doing that with someone? You know. I saw a couple news stories at the beginning when it first started. How you had, I think it was 3 friends. They was doing that. 2 of them worked from home. I think one of them was like going out in the field, but it's like, 4 or 5 days out the week, they was staying the night at each other's house for that company, man. I mean, obviously that was like during the lockdown when it first went down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's smart though. It is smart to do that. Personally, I'd be more like Will Smith and I Am Legend. You know, like what's the dog sound? You would have got the dog. I'm about to say just be the dog, but without the dog. But without the dog. But without the dog. There is no I Am Legend without the dog, bruh. When he lost his dog, no I Am Legend without the dog. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's true. He did. Yeah, you have to have the dog. You gotta have the dog. You gotta have the German Shepherd. That kept him from keeping that chatter in his head. On some real shit, that dog. I don't know. He was talking to the mannequins. You know, like he was talking to the mannequins. When he was talking to the mannequins, I was like really shook up. Like, but when he lost his dog, bruh, he went through it, bruh. Yeah, he lost that dog. I felt that pain. He was when he had to kill his own dog. Yeah, that was it. That was it, man. So he like what Smith was saying is right, man. He lost his friend, his only companion in that situation. That was it.
Yeah, man, and shit, when you by yourself during a pandemic or an apocalypse situation like that, man, you will pick up some vices easily, unfortunately.
Yeah, I felt bad for him because he had to snap the dog's neck. That was the part. I was like, damn, that sucks. Like,
yeah.
You know what? Just think about all of this. I think Kevin Sanders need to lay off the chicks for having a dog right now, Al. Especially the single ones, Al.
Oh, hell no. Stay on.
I think Kevin's right. I think
them dogs
not to be confused with
man.
Kevin. Kelvin is right. I think he needs to lay off the chicks with the dogs, bro.
At this point in time, when you see how many adoption rates are, speaking from a newly, dog owner, yeah. If I was by myself, bro, this dude would be holding me down.
Nah, he's not knocking the chicks for having the dog. He's saying, if you think that you're gonna get a man to just conform to all of these standards that you're holding up, you're unrealistic. So, either calm your ass down or get a dog and die alone.
Yeah, he's not knocking him for having a dog.
He's promoting you to get a dog.
Get a dog. Yeah, he's promoting it. Get a dog because that's going to be your friend. That's all you.
I don't know. I'm like with Kelvin. I think sometimes he shit on the women with having a dog.
Nah, yo, he be shitting on.
He don't shit on for having a dog.
Schubert, listen.
He does it.
Schubert, listen. Smith, he does it.
Yo, the nigga promotes them to get a dog.
Okay, the nigga even says, like, yo, you got to get rid of the dog because the guy comes over. He ain't trying to compete with no dog. Then he trying to take you on a vacation. You're like, yo, I got to find a babysitter for my dog. He's like, yo, the dog is a problem. That nigga presents the dog as a problem.
I missed that one.
I didn't see that one, but my whole thing is, yeah, there are some chicks that are like, yo, if they're going to pick between the dog or like, so for instance, y'all, Kellen and Brad, y'all know, y'all remember that young lady that was at, I'm not going to say her name, but you know who I'm talking about, that was at the gym when we was working out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the whole thing is she got 2 dogs and they both sleep in the bed. And
nah, that's too much.
Yeah. And there's some dudes are like,
that's too much.
I'm not doing that. Like there's like, dude, I'm not doing that. Like, but the whole thing is that's the way she live her life. That's the way she live her life because she loves her dogs. And I ain't mad at her for loving her dogs, but you can't be mad at a dude. It's like, no, I'm not, I'm not. No, you can't be mad.
No, I'm not. No. Yeah, you can't be mad at
kids is one thing, dogs, well, they dogs. It's like, yo,
yeah, it's
just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, man. Since we kind of pressed for time, I'm just gonna share this last story. I'm gonna skip the Phil Murphy signing the legalized weed.
Here we go with this again.
The legalized weed.
Here we go. Cash tells us the story and says we're not going to do it. And here goes Smith.
Cash. I was talking to a guy yesterday,
especially
and I said,
Smith.
It's funny.
You're gonna say this story to Smith and expect him to pass it up.
Cash, how about we do this story and not do the last one, bro? And just don't tell us what the last one is.
But the last one is funny, though.
No.
Do the last story. Do the last story.
Smith. All right. So this is from CBC New York. An Albany landlord accused of kidnapping tenants he couldn't evict, leaving them at a cemetery 30 miles away. An Albany landlord is facing charges accused of kidnapping. He couldn't evict during a pandemic. Sean Douglas is now out on bail. His tenants tell the police that they were abducted early Sunday morning at gunpoint, restrained with zip ties and covered with pillowcases. Mr. Sean Douglas has been trying to evict his tenants. His frustration boiled over where he thought to kidnap his tenants and remove them from the premises. This is from the police officer. He's lucky they came out alive. They could have frozen out there to death, whatever the case may be. Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple said, you have to be tolerant. This is a process. We're dealing with a pandemic. Things are rough, but this is not how you go about settling things.
Okay, so
no, that's not how you go about that.
Okay, agreed. But how do you go about settling things? Like, what are we doing outside of just telling landlords to wait? I mean, don't get me wrong. Kidnapping is a serious.
No, offense, he wilded out. He lost it. He lost it. So but Smith, in the court of law, if he got a good lawyer, he probably can get off with that, right?
Smith, what's the not saying that there shouldn't be an alternative, But what do landlords do in this situation besides just sit back and wait?
The same way that they're telling that the tenants that they have, they got the moratorium on the eviction thing. They need to do that with the landlords. They need to stop. The landlords shouldn't have to pay their taxes and their rents and their fees. They shouldn't have to pay right now. If I'm not getting paid, why do I have to pay? You know what I mean? You're telling me I can't evict them, but that's where my money comes from. So how the hell is I got to pay, but I don't have it? People are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars paying money that they're not even getting in. And then when this is all said and done, some of that money you ain't getting. You know that. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah, they're not getting
some
that
of that money
back.
They ain't getting. Yeah, y'all know that, right?
Back. That whole
just got screwed.
That's catch-22. That is catch-22. But there also is, so the whole thing is, if you're going to be a landlord, and I believe, P, you're a landlord, right?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is, there is insurance that you can, well, I don't know if it'll cover this situation, but there are insurance that you can get when your apartments are vacant, to cover your, the cost of your overhead.
You're right. There is something like that. I have never really
insurance to cover your overhead if the apartments are vacant, but I don't know if it still works when people are there and everything. So
it's not vacant, though.
The catch-22. Here's the thing: the catch-22 is what you're saying makes sense, but it's it's almost impossible to do because trying to get these banks to stop, asking for their mortgage money is damn near impossible. Asking the state to stop asking for their taxes is damn near impossible. It's crazy.
Is it really though? Hey, Black Zeus, is it really?
But bro, if you want that,
I don't think it's impossible.
But if you want that garbage to be collected,
we can make things happen. Exactly, we can make things happen, brother.
But I'm just saying, I think the taxes part is difficult because if you want your teachers to still teach your child,
I was gonna say if you want the infrastructure.
If you still want the infrastructure, those tax revenues cannot be seized.
See, I'm okay with the hard times, but y'all got to give me every single dime I'm owed. Regardless of when it comes. See,
my man Kel siding with Mr. Sean Douglas.
If you're gonna tell me I still gotta pay taxes, the mortgage companies ain't waiting. But then I don't get what I'm owed. But then I still gotta give these niggas what they owe. That shit don't work.
Could you imagine you own an apartment building that has 16 doors? Come on, man. And you got to pay the taxes, and you got to pay all this, and you're not getting anything coming in. What?
It just seems
anything coming in for almost a year. That's crazy.
It just seems
I got to figure that out. That ain't my job.
It sounds like we got two brothers on here who sided with Mr. Sean Douglas.
But Cash, you got to look at it, yo. Y'all, they looking at it the landlord ain't a person who lives somewhere who has to pay his own rent. Just the people in the building got to pay rent. Nigga, I'm living on the roof. I got to pay my bills just like the next nigga.
I say they skip the people that they're giving the $1,400 to and get that rights to the landlord. They living here.
But that ain't enough, bro, because I've been watching segments on the news. One landlord said one tenant owes them at least $18,000 in back rent.
And how did
how did you get there? How did you get to 18 grand? What?
Because the thing was, the one story, you could go down a rabbit hole of all these news stories. So the ring was, this tenant wasn't already paying going into the pandemic.
Okay.
And then when the pandemic hit, everything ceased. The court ceased, so he couldn't even evict the tenant that wasn't paying prior to the pandemic. And then now the court's just look, yo, you just gonna have to wait in line. So everything is backed up, and you got
a lot of people, Cash, that's like that. That's going to be taking advantage of the situation. Landlords are not going to get their money.
They're not going to get their money.
How will y'all give?
You gonna have more landlords kidnapping.
It makes you, to be honest, this situation makes me scared to buy more properties because I've been watching these horror stories, bro. And what, like you said, Smith, no one condoned what Sean Douglas did, holding tenants at gunpoint and taking them to a cemetery.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
he hit a tipping point, and I think, to be honest, what you was about to say, Cal?
I mean, I'm gonna just say two things. First off, with the whole Sean Douglas, that nigga might have been pushed to the edge. His family could have been starving. His wife could have been looking like, nigga, you got to do something. Just like you got a nigga who got fired from their job, or can't make ends meet with other way, that nigga goes out and rob. Not saying it's the right thing, but yeah, y'all push that nigga to the point. It's like, yo, y'all niggas owe me all this bread. Y'all ain't giving me, y'all not giving me nothing. There's a chance I might not get it back. And the fucking government ain't helping me get my shit. Meanwhile, y'all got all these niggas who's
banking up and they about to foreclose, ruin your credit.
And you got a whole bunch of niggas. Meanwhile, you got a whole bunch of niggas who went to college, took out more student loans than they needed, probably used that extra check to buy some bullshit, beer, whatever, and then them niggas getting exempt from paying fucking student loans until further notice. Like, come on, that shit ain't right. That shit is not right.
I'm talking about that's not.
You're right,
that's
because
not.
I was listening to The Bigger Pockets is a financial real estate podcast, and it was telling this one landlord was telling a story that was real fucked up. He had a tenant claiming hardship because they lost their job during a pandemic. And this entire time they were still collecting the income, but the landlord, because of the situation, was forgiving. Was like, all right, well, I understand, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to pay rent. Come to find out, the tenant up and bounced. They saved all of that money to purchase their first house. So now the landlord is trying
Didn't I tell you somebody was going to do that? Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, man.
Didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
So now he's trying to take him to court. But the thing is, he's out in California, and the courts, they're still on some, like, you know, backed up shit. So it's just like he don't even think he's gonna get that money. And he's out. He said he was out like $30,000.
That's crazy.
I told
That's
you.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. The whole situation is fucked up. I thought it was I don't want to say it was funny, but he's out on bail. So I'm like, damn, yo, you kidnapping motherfuckers and you out on bail? So that's gangster.
Hey, listen.
Yeah,
Be happy that he didn't, like, you know, set a fire in that motherfucker, burn the whole place down, get the insurance money. You know what I mean? Like,
did any of you all get a moratorium on yours?
See it happen.
On a mortgage? Hell no.
Get something on your mortgage?
Nah, I did get a letter from my mortgage lender where I could take out a forbearance, but I didn't need to. Like, I was still employed and I didn't want to, because when you do your research on the forbearance, it's not really what's up. Like, they're just gonna tack shit on, tack it on at the end of the mortgage on the end. And I'm just like, I ain't trying to deal with that. Or some places was doing some shit where at the end of the forbearance, they were asking you for all of that money straight up in one shot.
Oh, one shot.
Yeah. See, I would have been fine if these dudes were saying that I didn't have to pay interest like how they doing with the fucking student loans.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, that story is out there, and unfortunately, you might see more shit like this. Not to that extent. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe not to that extent.
That was bad though, Sean. That was bad. Like, But Henry Wright, you don't know what his situation is. You don't know what Sean's situation is.
Yeah, and think about
like
how
he could be starving. Like, that was his income. Like, he could be going through it. You don't know what he got going on.
And y'all got niggas living in my shit, and they ain't giving me nothing. And y'all niggas owe me all this money, man. Something got to give out. And there ain't nothing I can do.
All right, well, we know what Kel would do when he's pushed to the edge.
Fuck that.
My man.
I can do.
Yo, that ain't right. I can't kick y'all niggas out. Like, I can't do nothing. Man, look.
Man. All right, well, let's transition into the book. You know, Sean Douglas had that negative chatter in his head. So he
had that negative chatter. He took action for real.
He took action.
Jeez Louise. That's crazy, though.
Listen, I'm not going to say what he did was right, but I understand.
All right, fellas, let's get into the last week of this book, Chatter by Ethan Kross. So let's get into the questions. Start with Black Zeus in chapter 7, and speaks about placebos, such as the treatment of being mesmerized. Are the placebos more harmful or helpful? I think it's helpful. Like, a lot of times, people are mentally, they put mental obstacles in their way. And if you tell them this is something that could help them, which obviously we all know placebos are, fictitious remedies and stuff like that. It really amounts to nothing. And somehow it helps them overcome that mental obstacles to pursue their endeavors, then I think it could be helpful in that regards.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like giving somebody a lucky charm in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean? When you give somebody a lucky charm, they start believing in it. You know what I mean? You can get somebody to believe in anything. And once they start believing, it just transforms and transcends what they're going through. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the placebos as
hey, what you doing?
Instead of something like, liquor and tobacco. Because some people take that route where you use that vice instead to help them get through it. So I'm all for it.
Enjoying.
Here comes Black Zeus with the on both sides of the fence argument. Here comes Black Zeus with the both sides of the fence argument. Watch. He said, "Well, here's the harmful effects of it." Go ahead, Black Zeus.
Well, here's the thing. When I think of placebos, I think of when my son was about 3 years old. He came crying out of his bedroom, like in the middle of the night, to me, his mom. There's monsters in my room. Monsters in my room. We're like, there's no monsters. This, that, and the other. He's like, yes, there is. Yes, there is. He would not go to bed. So my wife took a small spray bottle that she had and put water in it, and then drew like a picture of monster with a cross, like that Ghostbuster kind of a sign over it, saying like, all right, and said no monsters on it, and this and the other. And she was like, just spray this around your room and there'll be no monsters. And sure enough, this is, he had this anti-monster spray, in his bedroom for the longest time, and of course he grew out of it. It was, whatever the case was, it was no big deal. But if he was still believing in the monsters to this day, and we're still giving him this, it's like, are we really helping him? And to put that in real perspective, if you go to a lot of natural places, we'll say, they'll have what's called homeopathy. And with homeopathy, it's not a real medical, scientific, study or anything, but they'll have they'll tell you, oh, this will cure this ailment or that ailment. And it'll be like, let's say 3 drops of ginger in a bottle and a gallon of water, and that's what they're selling to people. And people are like, yeah, I feel 100% better. I feel this, that, and the other. And it's just like, they're getting ripped off,
that's what you
with
call
something that
oil salesman.
Exactly. So it's just like, are placebos really helpful in the long term? Maybe in the moment. But it's like in the long term, when this is being promoted to one person, then the next person, kind of like in the gym, I always see all these women with these waist trainers, and waist trainers are garbage. They do nothing. They squeeze your waist. They don't do shit. You can't melt fat off.
They squeeze your waist.
It's a placebo. Exactly. It's like, that's all it does. And they're always like, well, I feel like I'm no.
It makes me think it's working.
Exactly.
Makes me think it's working. But I don't.
Hold up. Go ahead,
even
Smith.
With the placebo, what you were saying with your son and the placebo, at some point, if he continued that and he was 12, 13, he continued that, at some point you would have revisited it. I think you would have had you would have had another conversation at some point. I don't think a placebo is supposed to be a long-term thing. I think it's supposed to only be temporary.
I was about to say the same thing. I don't think it's supposed
to be something
that's why
15 years.
But time out.
Temporary.
But that's the thing. Like, that's why I use the gym reference, is the fact of, I see it all the time. People that are constantly
waist trainers,
using things like waist trainers, and they're promoting it to their friends and other friends, and people are getting ripped off, and they're getting a false sense of progress. They're not actually getting real progress. They're not sitting here and saying, I'm watching my diet, I'm being consistent in my workout, and getting
hold on. All right, these women with the waist trainers,
I'm checking my body fat. None of that. It's no. I got this waist trainer, and I'm drinking.
Okay.
Wait. Let me say something, Smith.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that with these women with the waist trainers, right, with the placebo effect of that, they all possess a mirror. The mirror never lies. So, like, after a while, you working out with the waist trainer, and you look at yourself in the mirror, and you don't see any changes. At some point, you got to tell yourself, maybe the waist trainer is not working because I'm not physically seeing the results.
No, they say I might need to put it tighter. I'm not wearing it correctly.
Well, cut off all blood.
I'm not using it right. That's what they say. Because it worked for this girl. But what I was going to say, because it made me think of these bees. These girls wear these fat bees.
Oh, yeah.
Fat bees.
And it's these beads that they wear around their belly, and it's supposed to help them lose weight. And they just it doesn't matter how fat they are, they put these fat beads on. I call them fat beads. I don't know what they're really called. They put these fat beads on though. Yeah, look at it. They're not called fat beads, but they put these on, and it's supposed to make them. It's supposed to make them lose weight. No exercise, no nothing. I just put this on, and it's supposed to make me lose weight. Yeah, and all of the high school students wear these things, and I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, this help me lose weight. But you're not dieting. You're not doing anything. You're just putting that on. It's like putting on a belt, and it's supposed to just magically help you lose weight.
Don't they do got that little waist trainer though that be shaking your shit?
And my whole thing is that's not how it works. I mean, the whole thing is I was so mad about this. Like, I've actually written a whole chapter in my book about all the stuff that people sell. That all the stuff that people sell with
ask your wife
gimmicks and this, that, and the other.
Okay.
She'll know.
She'll know. it's playing on your hopes that this is gonna work. This is gonna be the cure. This is gonna be the magic pill. You know what I mean? It's playing on your hopes, and the whole thing is because you want it so badly to work. You'll lie to yourself and tell yourself it is working.
You're a trainer like the whatchamacallit, like that shake weight.
Yeah, like the shake weight. Oh, I argued with a girl about the shake weight.
Like the shake weight.
Oh, I argued with her about the shake weight.
I could never do the shake weight, bro. That bordered all types of craziness, yo. You just look crazy using that.
Listen, I argued with a girl about the shake weight, and she's like, yes, it does work. Yes, it does. I was like, girl, the only thing that works for is getting better at stroking your man off. That's about it. All right? That's about it. Like, you're not going to just shake something, if that's the case, you don't even need to get a shake weight. Go get yourself a can of juice or something, shake that up and
down. Ladies, if you go to shakeweight.com and type in the code IBBC, you'll get a 10% discount. Make men happy, ladies.
No, listen, fuck the shake weight, baby. Come on over, come get this BBC. IBBC, my bad. My bad. A slip of the tongue, my bad.
Shake weight. Come get this BBC.
You want to shake some waist,
Hold on 1 second.
Girl, you can grab my dumbbell anytime you want. Nah, but real talk though, it's just the placebos are, I think they're, sure, it's cute at first, but it's dangerous for the long term. I just think it's dangerous for the long term. And it's a huge ripoff.
I think placebos are ineffective and harmful when you're dealing with a physical ailment. When it comes to mental hurdles, I think a placebo is helpful, just because a lot of times it could be the most simplest thing that could help you, the most simplest hurdle, but for whatever reason, you just can't get over it. And if someone is telling you, hey, this could help you out in some capacity, and that's all it takes. But like what Smith said, the way I interpret placebos has always been a short-term thing. I've never considered placebos to be like a crutch that you use for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that would be.
Because I know Ethan Kross talked about traditions. Now, you could get into a tradition to help you, to do certain things. But I always thought placebos were just like a quick elixir of some sort.
You get in tradition or ritual, but not to do the placebo thing for life.
Yeah.
I think that defeats the purpose of it.
All right. Let's jump into the next question, since I brought up rituals and traditions. This is from Mr. Kelvin, who is penning an alias at this point. What ritual do you have that weren't made aware of before this book? Man, I don't think I have one. Unless you call, I don't know.
Okay, I got a question. Routine and rituals, are they one and the same?
Basically.
I think so, right? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of. Know what, though?
So, Cash, you don't have a morning ritual or morning routine? All you got to do is think about your life. You got probably a routine. Now, like he said in the book, you might not do it in the same way, though. So you might get up and brush your teeth and then wash your face today. Tomorrow, you might get up and wash your face and then brush your teeth. It's not an actual ritual because it's not done the same way every day, the same thing.
But like the thing is with the
ritual.
With the ritual and routines is, that's supposed to help you with your chatter. Like if I were to not do certain things, I still have those chatters. I don't know. Like I can't think of a routine outside of going to the gym. I think that's what it is. I think that's my default. Maybe it's that. It's just like that's my routine. That's my ritual to help with my chatters. It's just
you work out at different times during the day.
I can, yeah. Sometimes I could be a morning person. Sometimes I could be a late evening person. It depends on the activity. Like in the evening, I'd rather box, with like do that sort of stuff because physically, like being that I have a cubicle sort of job, like sitting down, I just physically can't get into like lifting weights and stuff like that. Like I could do like a body exercise, and boxing is one of those. In the mornings, I'm more of I could lift some weights.
Go ahead, Smith.
I'm thinking of my routine, my ritual. I'm thinking of it.
You said you had one.
I'm thinking, well, now that Caston said some bullshit, I'm like thinking about because that's not a routine though. Like you exercise every day, but
that's a routine to help you with your chatter though.
But like Henry said, it's not a certain time though.
It's not a ritual. It's a routine.
We said routine and rituals are relatively one and the same, right?
I think so.
That's what I was asking. I was asking, are they the same?
So the only shit that I could really think of.
A routine you do, but a ritual you do the same way all the time.
So then I don't have
when Michael Jordan was wearing those shorts
underneath his shorts. Yeah,
that's a ritual. You know what I mean? That wasn't his routine.
The only shit that I really think ritual I can think off the top of my head is the way I take my vitamins. Because I got, I take a vitamin C, a multivitamin, and a fish oil. And I take the fish oil and the vitamin C together because when I try to swallow all three, I fucking almost choke one time. So I always take those two pills together and then take the one vitamin C, take the one multivitamin after every single time.
Why would you try to swallow 3 pills at one time?
Well, I mean, it's, you know what? I don't know who it was. I'm about to say, I don't know who it was. Maybe it was my grandma, Lachelle's grandma, something like that. She used to have a handful of them shits and just boom, kick back to
like sunflower seeds.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, fuck it. If her old ass could do it, I know I could do it too. I'm gonna switch them over.
Kelvin in the kitchen about to damn near choke on that third pill.
Sorry, I'm Kel. I'm really sorry for this. I'm so sorry for this, but I'm sorry. A deep throat joke was to be inserted there because, well, grandma back in the day. Oh God, I can't. He's like, well, she could deep throat 3 pills at one time.
I know I could. Fuck that. I ain't about to have no woman showing me up.
Oh God. I hope she shows you up.
If you're better at it.
If you're better at it, Kel, I gotta wonder.
Yeah. My leg.
Oh God. I can't.
There is a lot of dirty jokes with that, yo.
I'm serious. Right. Like I just got the dirty jokes all in my head. I was like, stop. That's somebody's grandma. Stop.
Somebody's grandma.
But that's how she became somebody's grandma. Oh.
Right. Yeah, short of like prayer, you know what I mean? That's like something like a ritual. But I was just thinking if I have like anyone that I actually follow. And
see, man, y'all didn't fuck me up, so I don't have a ritual.
No, because I went back and I was thinking when they were talking about Michael Jordan, and I was thinking about when I was running track, and I was saying, damn, did I say stuff to calm myself? I was really thinking about that. I'm saying when I was running track, even when I was like playing basketball and it would be Jim be quiet, you shooting a free throw. I never had the chatter. Like when I was doing long jump, I never had like, oh shit, you went ready to jump. It was go. You know what I mean?
You never put the same. You never put like the same shoe on at the same time or tied your shit a certain way. That's the motherfucking ritual.
No, I never did that. When I went to go like long jump, high jump, I never like, you know what I mean? I never had that chatter when it was coming to those things.
Bro, I had
the chatter before. I probably had the chatter before, and it was probably outside. We're talking to my teammates before we would get to the place. But once we got to the event, that chatter, that shit was gone. You know what I mean? Like it was weird.
Cash, well, I guess that's back in the day. Even if we had rituals back in the day, that ain't the same. thing is now. So I can't even try to pull up no examples of that shit. Yeah, but no, I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah, ritual would be like you and Lachelle, y'all have spaghetti every Sunday.
Yeah, like a traditional.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a tradition. Yeah. No, it don't have to be with food. Even on Sunday, y'all sit and y'all watch 30 minutes of the movie. Y'all got it's a certain ritual that you do that is just consistent. It never stops. You know what I mean?
So you know what though? I do got a ritual then, because we write letters to ourselves at the end of each month.
You write letters to yourself at the end of each month?
To each other. My bad. That sounds crazy if I'm writing that shit to myself. We write letters to each other.
Whoa, it's not crazy, because one of the tools that Ethan Kross suggested was to write journals, like to kind of like have a journal for yourself.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. So that ain't crazy.
Well, I guess you do write your journal. So, do people really go back and read their journal entries though? I kind of feel like once you write that shit, it's just in there.
Yeah,
I did
they do
one
go back
time.
and read them.
I did one time, and you looked and you just like, damn, I was thinking some dumb shit.
Yeah, you go back and read it. You might not go back within that year.
Yeah,
you might go back another year later. You know what I mean? Years later and read it.
Years later, and I went back and I was just like, because I discovered mine when I moved out of my mom's house, and I discovered it, and I was just like, damn, what was I writing at 14, 15 years old? And I was just like, damn, you wasn't saying much of nothing.
Did all this writing with a bunch of nothing. Not with a bunch. No content, just writing.
Just writing shit.
Schubert.
Woo. All right, so
Schubert fucking sharpen his swords in the morning.
Yeah. Sharpen his swords every morning.
Nah, bro, that's only twice a year.
Just waiting for the world to end.
No, real talk though. This is not gonna sound good.
I polish my bullets.
Watch you about to say some dark shit. Go ahead, Shu. He's about to say some dark woman shit that I gotta fuck around and edit later.
I'm about to say, dude, Kelly gotta stop recording for the statement you about to make, bro.
Wait.
I'll let y'all be the judge.
I sit with my eyes closed, and then I take the gun apart and I put it back together with all the weapons.
I'm trying to make sure that Shu could go back to his son's school and shit. Now I gotta edit this motherfucker.
He sharpens his knives in the morning.
Kid.
All right, bro. Let's we go, man. Go ahead, Shu.
Go ahead, Black.
All right, so the whole thing is, I typically wake up every day around like 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is the time when the house is at peace, and I'm good. I got coffee already. Thanks. No, I'm not done with my coffee. Sorry, my son. So, I'm up at 3 a.m. and the house is quiet, the streets are quiet, everything's quiet, and it gives me a chance to reflect, and it gives me a chance to meditate. And every morning I have a ritual of kind of reciting or almost kind of imagining what my obituary would be. And it puts me in the perspective of like, okay, whatever day I live today, I want it to be reflective of the life I want to leave behind, if that makes any sense.
Like, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense, but damn,
I don't like
bro,
the obit part.
So dark.
I don't like the obituary part, but I like.
That shit dark as hell.
If I was to leave, what would I be leaving? Yeah, that's right, but not the obit part though.
For real. I'm not trying to talk my death into existence that day.
Listen, I mean, in my mind state, it's two things. A is the fact of I don't have a fear of death. I see it as peace. One, and then secondly is the fact of like I think to me a real important thing is the legacy you leave behind, because that's what people are going to remember you for. And honestly, like I don't want my legacy to be like, where people make up shit I want people to be real, like, yo, this motherfucker was awkward. This motherfucker was an asshole. This motherfucker had issues, but he was also this good dude too. He was also this, he was also that. So the whole thing is I try to live as genuine as possible and as fulfilling as possible so that when the time does come, my obituary is true. It's not fictitious, it's not made up, it's not cleaned up, it is the reality of who I am. Now, if that makes any sense.
What if your wife
that makes
different way? Because your wife is going to be the one responsible for your obituary. What if she writes some fucked up shit?
Well, a little secret. I actually already wrote it.
I was about to say, you probably already wrote it and said, look,
I already wrote it, and I've had my wife read it, and she was kind of like fucked up at first, but she gets it. She gets it. So she already knows about it.
Hey, Cash. I didn't know your dog was so big, bruh.
Yeah, man. He's like,
I thought you had a puppy.
Nah, that's Kelvin, who's pending an alias. He's the
I
one.
I thought you had a puppy. You got a big ass dog.
Yeah, man. If cats be seeing them, they be crossing the street. I be like,
yeah,
yes.
You got a big ass. That's what I'm saying. You got a big ass dog. I'm looking like, y'all, that's a big ass dog. That's a. I don't know if he can hold that dog. I'm across the street.
Yo, y'all gotta see Kelvin's dog, LeBron, though, man. I've been looking into his Rottweiler. That joint, they say at max 150 pounds, bro.
He ain't gonna be that big. I think he gonna be big though, bro.
Yeah, he's gonna be big. I think he's gonna be like.
Yeah, they get big.
I think he could be like 120.
Rottweilers get big.
He's already big now, bro.
Yeah, that nigga gaining about 5 pounds a week.
So I know whose house I won't be going over for smoked.
Yeah,
brisket. You better deliver the brisket, bro.
You gotta deliver the brisket.
You better Uber the brisket.
She's gonna be like, yo, your dog in the basement. Your dog.
every dog owner swear they dog don't bite.
Exactly.
That's why y'all gotta come over early, man. Why this nigga still little?
It's like, yeah, my dog don't bite or yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, it hasn't bit you.
That's why y'all gotta come over while he's still little, man.
I'm still like, it got teeth, it bites, bitch. Leave me alone. What you talking about? I got bit in the face by a dog, and that shit scarred me for life.
Man, I got chased by a dog. I remember jumping on this dude's car, and the neighbor was like, "You get off his car." I'm like, "This dog." I was like, "You don't see this dog."
They said, "Get off his car."
Yeah, I was like, "Nah, man.
Come get this dog. I ain't getting off this car. I don't get myself."
Facts.
Word up.
That's why y'all gotta come over while this nigga's still little.
Yeah, listen, if I had to come over everybody's house while they dog's a puppy, you kick rocks with that, bro.
Yeah, right.
Put that motherfucker in the basement.
Put him up, right? Tie his ass
fuck
up.
that. Fuck that, yo. He part of the family.
Put his ass in the basement.
That's exactly what, you sound just like them white people. He's just part of the family.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's a dog.
Hey, nah, bro, you can't sit there. That's LeBron's seat.
Yo, some people get like that too, though.
I believe it.
Oh man!
Listen, I'm still tripping about the one time when my son was about, I want to say a year, maybe a year and a half, and my wife wanted to take Santa Claus pictures, and we were standing in line at Livingston Mall, I think it was, and we're standing in line waiting to go take pictures with Santa Claus, and I hear some little lady behind me like, "Oh, you're so cute. Look at you. You ready to take pictures of Santa? This, that, and the other." I turn around. I shit you not. This woman had a stroller with a dog in it.
See, the stroller be killing me, bro. Like,
she had a stroller with a dog in it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
A woman with a stroller for their dog?
To take pictures with Santa Claus.
Take pictures with Santa Claus.
I've seen the strollers before.
And I'm just glad I'm ahead of this lady, so my child is gonna be in Santa's hands before the fleas. I was like, it's some bullshit, It's like she in this mall with a dog in a stroller. I can't make this shit up. This shit up.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I've seen that down at Fort Lauderdale. Apparently, in Fort Lauderdale on the strip, you're not allowed to walk your dogs on that strip. So everybody that comes up and down that strip got their dogs in strollers.
So that's their little loophole. Okay.
Yeah, it's creepy as hell. It's so fucking creepy.
Why can't they?
I have no
idea.
I have no idea.
I could tell you right now, yo, just seeing it now, people don't curb their dogs, bro.
Yeah.
People do not curb their dogs, bro. It's nasty. Like now that the snow is melting, bro, I'm seeing all types of fecal matter everywhere.
People do not curb their dogs.
Yo, it's disgusting, bro. And people, they bring diseases if you don't clean that up.
Yeah.
Especially talking
about
just
disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But like you talking about hot weather, like Fort Lauderdale and stuff.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah, and you got fecal matter everywhere. Yeah, it tracks bugs. Exactly.
Right, you want the dog clean up the shit.
Yeah. And the problem is you got a lot of people who don't do it. They don't want to pick it up.
I don't know why. It ain't that much work.
Because it's nasty.
Because it's nasty and they don't want to put it in their hand. They don't want to use that little bag and pick it up. It's warm.
It's hot shit. Right
it is warm. I go front. It is warm. It'd be like, God damn, this is a.
If you want to be fancy, there was this one lady I saw in Montclair on Bloomfield Avenue, and she had the
little broom thing,
one hand thing that she just like scooped it up, and it just like it's kind of like it had an open close hatch where you just open up the hatch and scoop it up and it closes.
And it closes. Yeah, I've seen
I was like, hey, that's some foo shit.
Damn, I don't know if I feel like I don't feel like carrying that shit.
Hey, listen.
Nah, I do the regular plastic bag.
Yeah,
she's uppity.
But yeah, man. All right, so next question, my man Smith. In your view,
Smith got a question.
In your view, is there a difference between inner speech and just thinking? Is inner speech a subcategory of thought, or are they one and the same?
That's a good one.
That is a good one. The inner speech and just thinking. Shit, I don't know.
Okay, that's what you're doing right now, Cass. That's what you're doing right now.
That's what I'm saying.
And you went in your head. What was that?
But that's
what
me.
Was that?
Just thinking.
Is that just thinking, or was that inner speech? Oh, that was just thinking then.
That's what I say. I think it's thinking.
Black Zeus started off.
I don't know. For me, it seems like there's a difference between thinking and inner speech, as you call it. Because like for me, inner speech has like almost like a conversation. Versus thinking, I'm just processing. Okay, taking information and trying to make sense of it. But when reviewing something, a scenario in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, what could I have said better? What could I have done better? Or how did that go? And what did they mean by this, that, and the other? It's more of a conversation. So I think it depends on how you are processing. So like if you're processing something on the fly, like right now, I think it's more of a thinking. But if you're processing something later on and reviewing something that has already happened or something that information you've had for quite a while, then that's when I think you're having that inner dialogue. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
I think the chatter is more like reflection. Like whenever I read the question, like kind of how Cash did, I'll be saying, okay, is it inner thoughts or speech? Like I'm thinking about that shit as opposed to having a conversation about it. But the chat is just more reflection. I'm reflecting on, the shit after it's already happened.
Yeah.
You said the chatter is more of the reflection after it already happened.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, yeah. Only I put a little bit more eloquently.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, that's what Black Zeus was saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it's the thinking is definitely different than the chatter.
Yeah.
But you have to know that there is a difference. You have to know which you're in. If that makes any sense. So I'm thinking now, and there's no chatter. After I say what I've thought, I'm bringing the chatter because I'm being reflective. That's what the two of you just said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you were saying, like, the thinking is
that makes sense to me. I'm thinking and processing it. Yeah, that all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good answer, man.
Well, I didn't get to submit this one question. What was your favorite part of the book? For me, I did like the aspect when Ethan Kross was talking about environment and how your environment impacts your chatter. And he talked about the project building. I forget. You guys could help me. He was mentioning about in regards of how they could
projects with no trees.
With no trees, exactly, and how it made me reflect on my upbringing. Living in inner city projects and how.
I want to say it was the Robert Johnson projects, but don't quote me.
No,
I think it was the Robert Johnson.
Yeah, it was the Robert Johnson project. Thank you. And how people who basically had a view of Greenwich versus people who had view of other buildings and stuff like that, and how they noticed an interesting pattern in regards of their chatter, how much of it was negative. And for me, that was a good part because it made me reflect on the first time when I got out of the inner city and I went into like suburbia and rural America, as they would say, and like I noticed that my negative chatter started to dissipate. Like I didn't think about it. There was like this sort of cleansing that was happening. Whereas like when I found myself back in the inner city, in the projects and stuff like that, you had all of these constant chatter, whether it's positive, negative, just pinballing around the head. So for me, I think that was the favorite part of the book because that was a lot for me to relate to. I don't know if anyone else had any favorite part of the book.
No, I did like that part. I did like the part about the environment. And I told you all I do that every day. I go for a walk around the block, just look at the trees and just be in the environment and shit. Not always to the park, just to go out and walk. But I think I like the last part actually. I like when he went back over the tools.
The tools, yeah.
Yeah, I like the tools. I like the tools and how he went back over all of the tools that he had talked about. I like that part because it just brought everything together for me. You know what I mean? I was like, I actually use some of this shit. I use a lot of this shit without knowing the terminologies and shit like that. These are things that I do, and it's always good to look at it from a different perspective. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I think tools was the best part for me. I like that part.
I like the part where you sort of look at your situation from the outside, externally, second person to third person.
Being a fly on the wall?
Yeah, it just allows you to reflect, from a different angle.
Yeah, looking at it from a different angle.
Yeah, that's the part that I felt actually let me, I could actually start putting into practice, that I started putting into practice right away.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, especially as a VP, you need that part. Like, that is a part that you need to be using, looking at it from a different perspective. Yeah, the fly on the wall thing, that's cool. Well, that's cool.
I think I struggle with that. Like taking myself out of the situation and give myself the third party perspective. This is why I think one of his tools, like always find somebody you could talk to, because I think I lack that third person experience. Because it's just hard for me to detach myself. Because I'd be like, yo, I'm fucking right in that situation.
I'm about to say you get too emotional. You get too
I'm fucking right.
And you personalize it.
Yeah, it's just like,
and you can't let it go at that point.
Yeah, I can't let it go. I struggle with that shit hard, yeah. When that was introduced, I never thought about it. I don't know. That's, as you guys were saying in the past, it's just something you got to work on. And, but I don't know. I probably rely on people to give me that third perspective. And I reflect on that, what they have to say.
Oh, what they have to say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the whole book overall. It really gave me, I'm someone who likes to reflect a lot. And so I'm always having this inner chatter in my head. Someone who sees a therapist and someone who deals with, darker issues, this, that, and the other. It really gave me a little bit of perspective. And I think the one thing that really stood out was when he was mentioning basically harping on things and regurgitating the same issue with, people around you, friends or family, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Like, because I find when he mentioned that, I found that I was doing that with like two people I know in my life that I, share certain thoughts with and everything, and that I was in that loop of like regurgitating or being angry about the same thing over and over again. So it's something that is kind of brought my attention to that, and I can see how that can, have a divisive effect on relationships that you have. Even though someone wants to be there for you, they don't want to constantly hear that shit every time they see you, So that kind of put things in perspective for me.
Okay. Well, let's go on with the ratings since this is the end.
Go ahead, Mr. Henry, pending an alias.
What are we doing? Out of 5?
Out of 5. No.
No
0.6.
It's a whole.
I'm gonna give it a 4. Just because I like how it's just a mix of certain things I felt like I could relate to that I didn't really realize I was doing already, and certain things where it's like, okay, you know what? Let me try that.
Yeah. I give it a 4 as well. Very few books give solutions, and I like the fact it was solution oriented at the end. And as you pointed out, Kel, it definitely made me reflect on things that I have done that I need to work on about myself, just, flaws, and certain things that I was doing well. And continue to strengthen those strong suits. So yeah, I give it a 4.
4. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You said 4. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just repeating what he was saying. Like 4. It seems like I'm going with the 4 also. I actually enjoyed this book. Thank you, Henry. This was different coming from you, but I actually enjoyed this book, and it actually had me looking a little farther. And Zen Buddhists, they refer to the constant chatter of the mind as monkey mind. They call it monkey mind. They say the human mind is filled with drunken monkeys flinging themselves from tree branches, jumping around and chattering nonstop. So I went a little farther and started finding out some other things about this chatter, because I just wanted to know, because I got some things that go on in my head. They're not necessarily dark thoughts, Black Zeus. They're not necessarily dark thoughts, but I have a lot of things that go on in my head, and I'm constantly in my head a lot. So I just wanted to see what these wild monkeys were, as the Zen Buddhists call them, and how to tame these wild monkeys that's flinging and jumping around in my head. A lot of times when I'm going to New Brunswick to pick up my kids, I cut the radio off and I'm just in my head. I'm not even talking out loud. I'm just letting my head talk to itself. It's like some of the most beautiful and as Ethan Kross said, some of the most beautiful and awe-inspiring. You know what I mean? My thoughts are fucking awe-inspiring, and I wish some people could go inside my fucking head and see some of that shit sometimes. But it's awe-inspiring, and I like that he said awe-inspiring. You know what I mean? And something could be awful. That connection that he was making there, yo. I enjoyed the book. I want to get that motherfucker 5. I'm gonna give it 5 because I enjoyed it. They had me looking.
See, that nigga just—that's the reflection you got to do, bro. Matter of fact, you bump that shit up, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it a 5. That's what I'm gonna give it. And I'm gonna send y'all this thing about these Zen Buddhists and these monkeys flying around. That shit is interesting as hell.
I'm going to give it a 2.36. No, I'm kidding.
Damn, 2.36.
No, but real talk. I'm definitely going to give it a 4. I got a co-sign with Hawk. Like I was really caught off guard that this book came from Henry. it was definitely it threw me for a loop. I was like, damn, I feel like now I owe Henry a book. Like I'm gonna have to pick a fiction book just to pay him back. You know, like
nothing that's like outwitting the devil, where it's borderline nonfiction.
Nonfiction, like fiction. You gonna pay me back, nigga? Pay me the real way.
He said nothing like outwitting the devil. Not no fiction.
He's like, I want real money, no Bitcoin over here, motherfucker. Yeah, the whole thing is that I found the book very insightful, very useful, well written. It had a lot of good information in it. It wasn't too full of fluff or anything. The fact that he could put his own personal anecdotes in there and not just come from a clinical perspective, as well as being able to show ways to not just understand these concepts, but how to implement them in your everyday life with the mental tools and everything. So I thought it was a very well written book and very useful for anyone that, you know, is having that chatter in their heads, which it also reflected for me personally that I'm not the only one, you know, like it made me feel like there's a lot more people having that inner chatter in their head and you know, going through, you know, those thoughts that kind of make them crazy, if you will, or whatever case is, or kind of gets to them and everything. So I give the book a 4. I definitely give the book a 4 out of 5.
So you know what he said about the children, right? The children, they're doing this speech, they're doing the chatter, but they're doing it outside when they're doing the playing. And at some point that speech becomes internal. So you stop doing it out and it just becomes internal. I'm still trying to figure out what stage that is. Now my son is 5 and I asked him, he doesn't know if he hears voices in his head yet. My daughter's 12 and she says she hears voices in her head. So I'm like, shit. I'm trying to figure out what part is that because he will talk out his things now. Like he's out here playing now and shit. He will talk out. But when does it become internal? At what age does that shit become internal?
I think it's more of a time that they become more aware.
They become more aware
of their surroundings. So, for instance, you know how they say children are so honest or so daring, whatever. So it's like, you know, when they're young, they don't have those inhibitions where, you know, if they see auntie and they haven't seen her in 3 months, they'll say like, auntie, you gained a lot of weight, you know, and it's just like somebody has to tell them like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. Like, you know, so then they learn not to say certain things. And that's when they start to have that. I think that's when they probably start to have the inner chatter.
When they realize life has consequences, you're saying.
Yeah, that life has consequences and you're not allowed to just say everything out loud.
Say or do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're saying
I think it's conditioned.
In your head.
Yeah. Conditioned. I mean, because the whole thing is coming from a West Indian background, right? West Indians, they just say shit right as it is. They don't, you know, they don't sugarcoat. They don't, you know, like my son was like really, you know, when he was born like really light skinned, like no color, no pigment at all. And I remember when some friends and family came to visit, you know, and they saw my son because obviously I'm a black man. They looked at him and was like, whose white baby is that? And it's just like, it was this awkward moment, you know? So it's just the way things are, you know. I think that's just the way it's cultural. I believe, you know, especially here in America where you damn sure can't say everything that comes to your mind without being labeled a bigot or this or that or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think your son's going to develop that when he realizes there's consequences to what he has to say.
There's no such thing as freedom of speech.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as freedom of speech.
When you get that parent-teacher meeting.
That moment, though.
Yeah. You're going to get that phone call, Smith. Like, yeah, your son, he just said, I got some sagging titties. And it's going to be like.
Oh, God.
But Smith's going to be like, but is he lying, though?
Oh, he said she ain't got no nipples.
Well, he was right.
He was.
I see that he was right. I see that he was right. So why y'all mad? like for instance, I think my son is starting to get to that point at 10 years old because he got in trouble when he was like in the second grade, so about 2 years ago when he was like 8, because when his teachers said that, I never get anything wrong, and my son was like, so you never got anything wrong? You never got anything wrong, even in math and science, your whole entire life? She's like, no, I never got anything wrong. And he's like, I think you're lying, and the teacher felt some sort of way, even though instead of acknowledging like he was smart enough to say, there's no way anybody is not going to get anything wrong. And the fact of, he even said math and science, 2 subjects that he knows people get shit wrong, So instead of saying, well, for 8-year-old, that's pretty insightful, she said, she made, she took away his recess and made him write a, basically a punishment note of why he was wrong.
Yeah. Why he was wrong.
Why he was wrong.
Like, for questioning authority like that.
For questioning her authority, So,
I thought you would have an issue with the lying part, calling her a liar, not questioning.
Yeah, well, there's that part. That's what it really is.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it really is. But you can't say,
because I tell my students to challenge. Yeah, I tell my students to challenge shit. If it don't sound right, challenge it. Fuck that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what he did. To do. Yeah. That's what he did. He challenged.
He's one of those cool teachers, Smith, that's open to hear what your students have to say. There's some fragile teachers out there that don't like to have their authority questioned.
I'm with your son on that. Like, you never got anything wrong. So you never even took a wrong turn. You just went through life with nothing wrong. You were just a perfect person. Get the hell out of here.
And like I said,
I think you're lying.
Tell your son to ask her where her husband at.
Oh.
But she clearly did something wrong there.
And is he on the first or the second or the third?
Damn.
You trying to get that boy expelled. You ain't trying to get him right in a punishment. You trying to get that boy expelled.
But it's like,
not even in math and science. I'm giving you an out, teacher. I'm giving you an out. I'm
seriously.
Seriously. No, I never got anything wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're lying.
Word up. That's exactly what he said. It's like, his bullshit meter went off.
Yeah, I think you're lying. That's some bullshit.